Right. Hello and welcome, FPL managers, and welcome to Gone Football Fantasy, and of course to the Zonal Weakness Show. And today, you of course see a completely different host, co-host, of course. It's Sankalp, understand, who goes by the hashtag or the handle understanding F8 from Twitter. So he's joined us all the way from India. Welcome, Sankalp. Good to have you.
Thank you, Nadeem. So good to see you again.
Yeah, absolutely. And the pleasure is all mine that you have joined us and you have decided to do the zonal weakness this season along with Bethany. So I'm sure we are going to do a lot of interesting stuff over the season. But yeah, so glad. And of course, audience, if you don't know who Sankalp is, he's a very renowned FPL manager from India who's done extremely well in one of the seasons. I think he finished in top three, or if I'm correct, top three, right? Yeah, he finished in the top three of the Indian position. So overall in the global India ranking. So there you go. And yeah, consistently he's doing well. Last season he had a bit of a bummer because fatherhood kind of took him by surprise a little bit, if I have to say that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
but I think he's back on track and he has decided to join us. So I'm sure we are going to have a very wonderful season. So Sankap, we'll get started, and of course, audience, this is your zonal weakness for game week 4. The international break is over, so we'll have a lot of suggestions for you coming up. And before we kickstart, of course, what you're going to do is please do follow and like and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, as well as on Twitter channels because we are producing regular contents there. And all the contents that you see and the data in those contents are taken from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. If you haven't really signed up for the membership, please do now because there is a discount ongoing, 40%. And of course, it's worth the investment that you make because, yeah, there is not just the zonal data for the all 20 teams, but there is plenty of data. And I'm sure you'll be tired of looking into the data, and yet you will not get rid of it. So it's worth the investment for a season, I can say. Right, Sankalp, I'm going to get into straight into the table. So I'm going to hand it over to you now. And here it is. Over to you, Sankalp.
Yeah. So before I begin, right, we just closed game week 3. We are going to start game week 4, right? And generally, if you are guys are aware, we look at last 6 matches. No, I remember last season we used to always look at last six matches, right? So now the data sample size is a bit lower, so it's slightly biased. So we'll take a look at, whenever we take a look, we take a look with a pinch of salt, knowing that in 2 weeks times, 2 to 3 weeks time, the data will become, really good. But zonal weakness is a set of data that I really, look forward to and use it very extensively for my FPL seasons, right? So without further delay, let's start with City. Right, City are going at home to Brentford. Brentford are going away to City, and you see the main man, looking to score hat trick of hat tricks, maybe, and he's there in the white position, right? So he's there in this white central box. Very difficult to ignore him given the form that he's in. Of course, the wild carders might say otherwise, but that white stat, right? It makes you think, right? So chances conceded, Brentford have already conceded 12 chances there, and the rank is 4 for Haaland, so he's there, top 3, top 4. The bad thing for any non-Haaland owner is he's really taking his chances. Unlike last season, he looks like, any chance that he gets, he'll take it, right? So even if his rank is 4, you can take, kind of think of him as 1 or 2, because that's how good he's looking. But apart from that, if you're someone who's looking as a double up on City, right? I think the left flank is pretty interesting. Ideally you'll have Doku starting there, though there's a chance Bernardo Silva might also start. But given the kind of low base or low defensive height that General Brentford brings across, I expect Doku to start, and he can be a punt, especially for people looking for punts. Right, he's there in the second rank, and someone to look, just keep an eye at. That's all, right? Next we have Bournemouth, right? Bournemouth have Chelsea. Bournemouth at home to Chelsea. Chelsea are looking good actually. While there's a lot of noise in and around Chelsea, they are actually looking good in attack. They scored, I think, 5-2 was the match against Wolves, right?
Yeah,
Really lit them up, really lit them up. So if it's, I think a lot of people already have Palmer. He's one of the most owned midfield assets given his last season form and the Wolves match, right? And you can see that the zonal weakness is really highlighting Palmer and Jackson both. And Jackson is playing well. If you look at last couple of matches, he scored as well in one of the matches. He's looking good. Right? So, wild carders, I think Chelsea especially has a ton of fixtures now. So if you're looking for a single or double up, right? I think Jackson Palmer is not bad, not bad at all. I know a lot of people are on Joao Pedro, Joao Pedro as well as Welbeck, and he's there in the zonal weakness. But the good thing is, and the best thing about this data set is, while everyone will be on Joao Pedro, will be on Welbeck, you can see that Jackson is there in the white box, which means he's a really really good punt for this week at least, right? Then you have
yeah,
Madhu, and I don't know what to expect from Madueke because there's a bit of rotation going around in those positions, right? Neto, Felix, you don't know which player starts, which player comes off the bench. But in case they do start, and I'm hoping we do get some sort of news by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. We are recording on a Thursday night, right? So if we get some sort of news and get an understanding of, say Madueke starts, and you feel that the price point of Jackson is slightly higher, and you want to double up, I think Madueke is interesting as well. And that chemistry between Palmer and Madueke is something you know we have to keep a look at, right, Nadhir?
yeah,
Perfect.
definitely.
And next up, I think, is the match that everyone's eyes will be, especially the wildcarders, right? Forest going away to Liverpool, and this is the reason I started with a slight bit of star note, right? Saying that, hey, take things with a pinch of salt. Is you can see Salah is there with a 20th rank because so far they've considered only one chance in the last three matches. But at the same time, who have Nottingham Forest played so far? They have played Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, and Wolves at home. Right, so this is the really first tough match, and they're going away to Anfield. Things are going to be really different. They are going to play the best right winger in the league without doubt, who's on supreme form. I don't have him in my FPL team, and I'm really cursing
Well
if he gets
done.
match. Man, I think I cursed Ten Hag more than any United fan did that night.
Yeah, I echo your sentiment. I echo
So,
your sentiment.
yeah, so there's a low sample size here, but Salah is Salah, Trent is Trent, and the fixtures have been kind on Nottingham Forest so far. So maybe they are good, maybe they are looking better. The system has settled down. This time Nottingham Forest surprisingly did not do a lot of transfers. They now have a good settled squad, so there's chance that they are becoming a good team as well. But at the same time, that there is a pinch of salt because the fixtures have been kind on them, and now they are going to play a really really good Liverpool side. I'm amazed at the start that they have had. I mean, I expected them to have wins, but the smoothness of the machine, the new coach coming in, settling down, giving new ideas. And the best thing about I think this thing is, if you look at Salah today, right, while he plays wide, they have understood, the best of Salah is closer to goal, and they have found ways to get Salah there, right? So this is something that I really admire the coach. Even if he has a system, he has found tweaks in the system which goes to
Yeah,
the strength of Salah. At the same time, on the left side, you have Luis Diaz, who's on very good form, and Robertson, right? And because there's a lot of people who are on wildcard this week, right? So I just want to add a bit of caveat here, right? I think these are good punts to take. Not even punt, I would say. These are good decisions to take, good informed decisions to take, and it seems that Forest already is conceding a lot from their, right flank, right? So Luis Diaz, Robertson, they are good players and good assets to own this week for sure. Right?
yeah, yeah. And the Liverpool's fixture is turning a little bit, so
The
they have a
fixtures
good
turning.
couple of so
Three, four
it's
matches.
going to be a good investment. Yeah, it's going to be a good
Exactly. So
investment, I think.
yeah, just like Chelsea, if you want to double up on a Liverpool asset, I think Salah, and you can make that tweak from Jota to Luis Diaz maybe, because Diaz is looking really good and the zonal weakness is really pointing onto him. Right now,
Right.
we'll go to Wolves and Newcastle. Newcastle have been slightly disappointing, I would say, especially as a Isaac owner. In the first three matches, they have not really gelled in the attack. But I think in the last match, they did play well against Spurs. Spurs really kept the ball, but uh, Newcastle kept finding opportunities to attack, and that's how the game plays, right? So we just spoke about, Chelsea going away to Wolves, and now we have Newcastle going away to Wolves. They are a good counter-attacking team, and you have the flanks, who generally do well. That's what the zonal weakness is telling us. Be it the left flank or the right flank, they are really good. Livramento, okay, is number one. He's a 4.5 million defender, if memory serves me right. Really
That's
attacking,
right.
good quality, fullback. uh, Murphy, I think people started with him, but he's not really done that well. But you never know. Preseason form was really good, right? So if you have him, maybe, and you are not on a wild card, maybe you don't sell him, see it out, right? Because that opportunity is there. At the same time, if you have someone like Gordon, right, you cannot sell Gordon this week. You just cannot, right?
No.
Similar for Isaac owners, right? If you're not in a wild card, there's no real urgency to sell him this week. He's sixth in the rank, uh, but I think while he may not be the guy who's getting the chances to score, he can still be the guy who's creating it for a Gordon or for a Murphy or for Livramento, right? So uh, good good pieces of information coming out already from zonal weakness, something to really keep an eye at. Then we have Leicester against Palace have broken many FPL managers heart so far. Right, so many people started on a triple up. But that's always a lack of always of I would say affect, right? He was a good player for them towards the end of last season. There's a new system. They have just bought, Eddie and Nketiah, so we don't even know whether Mateta starts, or even if he starts, there's a possibility now he's not an 80-minute guy. He's now become a 60-minute guy, right? So that's a
Yeah.
caveat now that we'll have to start adding to Palace. Eze is looking really down on the zonal weakness. So Leicester are doing well on the right flank, but at the same time, Eze is looking really threatening as well. He's taking so many chances, so many shots, most of it from outside the box, but he will try to do something for sure, right? But at the same time, I think a lot of FPL managers will be very, very happy to see Munoz there in the white box, right? Uh, Really attacking fullback, and he did well towards the end of last season. That's where a lot of people had their eyes on him, and this season also he's given us one assist, I think, at least so far. Right, and is there on the fourth rank? They've considered 15 chances so far from the left flank. So if you are a Munoz owner, I think it's a good match to see out and see how things work out for you. Maybe this is the week that really turns things for you, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Mateta and Munoz, someone to look at, right? And I've been missing out on the header considered a bit, but here I cannot, because Mateta is ranked one on the headers conceded, for Leicester, right? And there are a lot of people who actually have Mateta, given his last season form, given his Olympics form, right? And this might be the week there where you actually see things, really turning up for you. If you have Mateta, maybe you stay there. And again, there are people who are wildcarders, right? So wildcarders are looking at a second forward or the third forward, because some of them have dumped Haaland. They're taking the risk. So if you're someone who's taken that risk, or you are on a second or third forward, while obviously I spoke a bit about Eddie and Ketia, and I know eventually there's a chance of competition, but I don't expect it for the next 2 or 3 weeks, because he's just been brought into the squad, right? So at least for this week, Mateta is there, is really key, someone to keep an eye at, right?
Yeah.
I'll next go to Nadim's favorite team, Manchester United. Right? Maybe this is the
And I
week.
have Bruno
Maybe this is the
Fernandez,
week.
so
You
I'm
have
I'm
Bruno
really
Fernandes.
looking. Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to what you have to say about that.
See, I start a bit with your other player, which is Zerky, right?
Yeah.
He did get good opportunities against Liverpool as well. So it seems like the system is created in a way where your central player are getting the opportunities, right? Because the first two matches Bruno played that role, he was getting those opportunities, right? And then Zerky played that role in game week 3. He got good opportunities. I think he should have definitely scored at least one, right?
Yeah.
But he's got a good international break. Now you guys are playing Southampton away, right? And the system is such that it will create opportunities for the guy in central, positions, and the team is such that it actually concedes a lot of chances in the central positions, right? So if you have someone who has Bruno, if you're someone who's punted with Zerky, I would say hold on to it. Right? This is not the
Okay.
week to sell at all. Uh, uh, Obviously, there'll be disappointment, from your previous fixtures, but then Liverpool are at a different level. You are playing Southampton, right?
True.
Uh,
True.
and the fact that uh, I think there's a change in system for sure compared to last season, right? And the change in system will definitely help out some players, and I feel those players are Bruno Zerki, right? uh, where does it land up? You always have to ride a bit of luck in the early bit of the season.
True.
So I hope Bruno owners get a bit of luck. I hope Nadim gets a bit of rub of luck.
I'm going to
You know,
hold you to it. Yeah. I'm going to hold you to it.
but I'm happy to see Ahmad and Garnacho as well, because there are a lot of people who have him as the fourth or fifth midfielder. I don't know who starts. That's the only issue here, right? Because initially it felt like Ahmad has his slot, but I think the last match Garnacho started, right? So that's the only bit. But whoever starts, again, someone to keep an eye at least, right? So good fixture for United, fingers crossed, right? But I think the zonal weakness is really highlighting the right side of things. So if you're someone, and also I think one player we have not kept here, but Mazurai, right? He's looking really
Yeah.
good as well, right? I was looking at him. He does play a bit like a white, so he plays a bit on the inverted side of things, but again, considering the fact that the left flank is really blowing up for Southampton, you never know, you might see something good from Mazurai as well, right?
Yeah.
So
Should we
without
move to
further
the next
delay,
slide?
yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay. Let's go to the next slide. And I think there's not much to discuss here, but yeah, just
Yeah,
see what
I,
stands
I'll
out for
just
you.
definitely. I'll just touch upon a couple of points. I think we have Aston Villa, because there's a lot of people who have interest in Aston Villa. I think a lot of people who have gone Watkins and punted there, even though he's not looking fit, right? Uh, Not really
Oops,
great
sorry.
this week.
Sorry.
Not
Sorry.
really
Sorry.
great this week. No problem. No problem. So Everton really keep those central areas. Generally, they keep it packed, right? Sondice is that coach, right? So may not be a great week for Sondice, for Watkins, or your Rogers owners, including me. But Dini is really showing up, and it's interesting to see. Because I think he's had a good start to the season as well. Ramsey is a good player. I still remember, the season he had, a couple of seasons back. He was looking so good, and whoever is playing on the left side of things can take care of Everton's right flank, because it's looking that good, right? Similarly, we'll go to Fulham. A lot of people actually have Robinson, including me, and he's looking so good as a asset. He's really creating opportunities, creating chances. So Robinson is there on the top, so that would make some owners smile at least, right? So West Ham are conceding chances from the right flank, and I think Robinson will definitely create opportunities for Muniz or Smithrow. And there are people with Muniz for sure. There are also people who have gone the Smithrow, route. Good midfielder, again an ex-Arsenal player, so I have my bias, but we have to look at them. I think Robinson will be able to create opportunities for them, right? Or he will be the guy who will, maybe reach the end point of some chances, right? So we have to look at Robinson for this week, and then I'll go to the last bit, right, which is Wolves. We spoke
Yeah.
about Newcastle taking opportunities off Wolves, but Wolves also scored 2 goals against Chelsea, right? and both Kuno as well as Larsen, they are good central forwards, and Newcastle defense has not looked that solid as well. Right, they have also considered a lot of chances. I think Southampton they won 1-0, but Southampton was looking so good, even in the game week one. Right, so someone to look at, and then I don't want to miss out on Ed Nouri, who's almost playing as a winger. And the good thing is, he's there in the white box. He's, I think, ranked fifth. They have considered 31 chances already, crosses already from that side. Right? So this is something good. This is something really good. So if you are on a wild card and if you've punted on Aithnori, which makes sense because he's playing so attacking, this will make you smile and this will make you, again, keep your fingers crossed. So that's all from my side.
Right.
First episode of Zonal Weakness.
Yeah, no, we have just the team of the week and also the what you call it. Yeah, just the team of the week left, and then we can wrap it up for this week. Yeah. So I'll
Okay.
just bring the team of the week. Here it is. Yeah.
Perfect. So we touched upon most of these players: Haaland, Mateta, Gordon, Bruno, Palmer, Luis Diaz. We have De Bruyne as well because he plays on those central, zones and off the left places. We have Robertson, Livramento, Munoz, and some goalkeeper that you have to fill up. Right. So team of the week from Journal Weakness. Most of these players are well owned, and I think we might have a good break from the international break and some good scores.
Right. All right. So I think that wraps it up. To be honest. So thank you so much for that. Excellent analysis, very crisp, and I think there's a lot of information there. If people listening to it can sift through, and I think they'll find it very interesting. But thank you so much, Sankal, for joining, and of course, thank you for taking all the time as well. But yeah, we appreciate it, and we'll be back next week, of course. And all the very best to those who are playing the wildcard. Hope this zonal weakness was helpful. Sankalp has given a lot of discussion and a lot of information regarding wildcarders as well. So I'm sure all of you are going to find it helpful. But until then, we'll see you next week for Game Week 5 with Bethany. Until then, see you. Bye bye.